everyone, Kim here, and today I'm so excited to have a Canvas conversation with Alana Lerch, your modern career coach. Hi, Alana, how are you?
I'm wonderful, Kim. Thanks for the opportunity to meet with you.
All right, Alana, so let's dive in. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about who is Alana Lerch?
Yes, absolutely. So I live in Chesterfield, Missouri, near St. Louis. I'm a Midwest gal at heart. I've lived in Chicago and Portland, Oregon, and I am a business owner, a wife, a mom, a daughter, a friend, all those things. So, loving the opportunity to share more today and keep it real and talk a little bit about what makes me tick.
Awesome, awesome. We're so excited to hear that. It sounds like you have multiple identities as well, so hopefully we'll get to learn a little bit about each of those during this call today.
Wonderful.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about the journey of how you got to this point in your life?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in a very small town in Illinois. I would say I was a little bit sheltered. So our idea of going out for ethnic food was Olive Garden or Taco Bell. My grandparents were very supportive of me growing up, as well as my parents, and I really had a lot internally that I was, I guess, thinking about how do I become this extrovert or how do I let everybody see what's inside. And I would say my growing opportunity throughout my life was all about how do you really tap into your authenticity, ask for help when you need it, surround yourself with people in your life that are cheerleaders, and if you fall down, get back up and keep going. So I've had a very successful career. I've started off as a bioengineer and worked with scientific equipment and traveled all over the world, and ended up in St. Louis working on software implementations and change management. And now I am a career coach and feel that I've finally landed in my career purpose, which has been awesome.
Awesome. I love that, fall back down or fall down and get back up again. I think that that's probably something that has really played out for you as a coach, right? Working with other people. Oftentimes when people reach out to a coach, they're in that situation, I would
Sure, you're
think.
right. Exactly.
Awesome. Awesome. And I love the t-shirt that you're representing the coach today as well.
It's very comfortable as well, so TGIF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So you've had quite the career shift, really, going from biotech to this, right, to career coaching for people and really starting your own business. Um, why is it that you do the work that you do now? And can you talk a little bit about the transferable skills, right? Because I think sometimes people are afraid to make the leap between what they're currently doing and what they want to be doing. Or maybe they went to school for a really long time for something, specific, but they want to be doing something totally different. So can you talk a little bit about that process?
I'm happy to, and wonderful questions, Kim. So, in my own journey, when I think about my ultimate purpose and why did I go to school for bioengineering, why did I want to learn physics and all of these complex concepts and study hard? And my ultimate goal at that time was I wanted to design prosthetic limbs. And so my young mind at the time was like, well, then you need to know engineering concepts and all of these technical things. But when I unraveled that later in life, I recognized I really wanted to help people. And that can be done in many different ways. And so I would say, me continuing to ask myself questions throughout my career to say, am I closer to where I'm supposed to be? Yeah, this feels closer. Okay, I'm going to keep going and growing. Or oh my gosh, I just entered a phase in my career where I've done some great things, I've met some great people, but I don't feel lit up inside. I'm not living my purpose. Something's out of alignment here. I need some time to ask myself, what do I really want? And so I think that ties into that feeling of being stuck or having this potential that's like bottled up inside. I had always wished, there's therapy out there and HR in your workplace and your friends, but who is that person to sit down with you and really say, what are you doing now in your career? Where might you be stuck? And what are your core strengths? How can I help you tap into those strengths to define your future path rather than saying, I'm a director of IT, guess I need to be a director of IT at another company and see if that works. Some people fell into their path similar to what I did, go to college, get a degree, take a job, keep on going. But other times you have to really stop and reflect. And if you want to mix it up, really understanding that mindset and confidence and attitude and belief, all of those are so much more important than what you put on your resume. And having that story ready to go is going to help you in an interview as well. So it's almost like a career reinvention of sorts that I wish I would have had. And I, pulled together many resources for myself that now I feel that I can give back and help others who are feeling stuck in their careers.
Right, right. You mentioned something, or you exude this energy of confidence in the way that you talk about your journey, which I think as a fellow woman, I appreciate, right? Seeing another confident woman on the other side of the screen. And I know that oftentimes it takes a journey to get there, right? Can you share a little bit about your journey towards becoming confident in what you're doing now? Because I'm sure that has influenced some of the work that you've been able to do.
Yes, absolutely. I think the confidence comes more naturally when you're in alignment with your career, with your purpose, with your family. So I noticed, at times in my career, I thought other people have the answers, or they're more experienced, they have what it takes. And was always trying, at certain points in my career to prove something, or that I had what it took or could do more. And when I really stopped wrestling with that, to say, be thoughtful in what you say, but say what you mean and say what you feel. And if you disagree, speak up. And so, in being a people manager the past 15 years or so, I saw that quality in other people, where I would ask a question or ask them how they felt about something. And it was like, oh, you're senior to me, I'm not going to tell you how I really feel. And in the workplace, you have to handle confrontation, call people out when they're being mean, look out for the customer, look out for yourself. And so I think a lot of it came from age and experience, but also being an empath and an intuitive person. And in human-centered design, I'm a projector, so I have a lot of energy that goes out. What I've learned is sometimes that can be a target or attractive to people who maybe want to be manipulative or have ulterior motives. And so in that case, it's all about knowing your boundaries and standing up for what you will do, what you won't do, what you will say, and what you won't say. So for me, building confidence will look and feel different for everyone. But I think the first step is speaking your truth. And, empowering others, like you said, Kim, a fellow woman, to say, hey, you're doing great. I believe in you. I'm behind you 100%. Sometimes we're so busy taking care of other people that as professional women, we have to say, I appreciate you, or you went out on a limb here, or you really challenged yourself. You challenged me. Thank you. And you get more confidence to keep doing that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I think that there's something in there that resonates that goes beyond even just the workplace. And you mentioned be thoughtful in what you say, but say what you feel and what you're thinking. And I think people can really take that to every aspect of their life, right? At work, in their relationships, whether that be with a partner or a family member or your kids even, right? Just being thoughtful and being intentional in what you're trying to say, but also really saying what you're actually thinking and feeling. That's so important.
I agree completely.
Awesome. I would love to know, you mentioned this a little bit ago about what makes you feel lit up inside. And I can tell based on your professional journey that coaching is really what lights you up, right? Working with people, building the relationships, etc. But I'd love to know, outside of your profession, what lights Alana Lerch up?
Oh, thank you. Lots of things, probably too many to count. So one thing that my family and I really have in common is live music. So we listen to Elton John at the dinner table a lot, and My kids call him the guy with the glasses, and there's a big joke. My 8-year-old says mommy has a crush on Elton John, so we're just gonna leave that, where that is. So we like to, go to parks and play, listen to music. We're a big sushi family, so that's kind of our special night out. I'm actually taking my girls for a girls' night out for sushi tonight.
Oh, nice.
We love to laugh, to joke around together, to kind of do the silly holiday traditions like watch Will Ferrell be Elf and make cookies together. So anything that's spending time and supporting each other. Personally, I love yoga, and I think that, stretching and getting your blood flowing and helping to center yourself has been really helpful for me. And I love traveling. So I've been to Indonesia and Europe and Mexico and lots of different places in the States. So my retirement dream is to travel more with my husband and my family. But I think I'm pretty normal when it comes to the fun weekend and holiday stuff.
I love that. And you've come a long way from Olive Garden and Taco Bell.
Hey, I'm telling you what. Yeah, but I will say the breadsticks are still really delicious. And they're unlimited, so you can really get your money's worth there, Kim.
So I love Olive Garden, so I
Yeah.
totally understand.
Not knocking it. Yeah, they not sponsored. This session is
Yeah.
sponsored by Olive Garden.
But hey, Olive Garden, if you want to sponsor this, we're not going to be upset
Here
about
we
the
are.
unlimited breadsticks.
There you go.
That's awesome. And I love the special holiday traditions. Those are big in my family too.
Good, good.
I was making my kids Halloween shaped pancakes for breakfast this morning.
Wow, and it's September, so go Kim. You are ahead of the game. Bonus point.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, my kids are crazy about holidays, and we start for Halloween in September and Christmas November 1st.
Now, did they taste like pumpkin or shaped like pumpkins or both?
Shaped like pumpkins.
Okay.
I appreciate that you think I'm skilled enough to make pumpkin flavored pancakes.
Well, there is like pumpkin spice mix, it's like the
Oh,
mix
yeah.
you put in chili. There's like pumpkin spice mix that you can put in pancakes and muffin. It's just the nutmeg cardamom. So something to
Right.
think about. But I'm sure they were super delicious and appreciated by your kiddos.
Well, they were, but I would blow their minds if they were if they tasted like pumpkin. They're little, so it doesn't take much.
I know what to send you from Amazon.
Yeah. I'll say you can pick Elena. That's awesome. So what do you like most about yourself, Elena?
Goodness, I think the fact that I can be really silly without needing a laugh, I guess. So I like to make jokes and be really ridiculous at times, and I'll laugh more at myself than other people do. And sometimes my daughter's like, "Okay, Mom, it wasn't that funny." I'm like, "Well, it was for me, and what better way to live than to crack yourself up?" So I'm kind of a geek. I admit it, but I like to be around others with a quirky sense of humor. And, I tend to resonate with people that crack their own selves up or have a really funny laugh or a cool, thing that they do. So, yeah, I would say I appreciate that more about myself as I get older.
I love that. I think it's so important to not take yourself too seriously.
Sure, sure.
And I think that kind of leads to some confidence, right? When you're able to laugh at yourself for whatever reason, right? If you're just being funny or being ridiculous or over the top or whatever it might be, it really it lightens the mood on life, I
I
think.
think none of us are expected to be perfect, and if something comes out wrong, it's okay. And having other people feel that they're in a space that you're not laughing at anyone, you're laughing with them, just makes things, like you said, more fun and uplifting and life more enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I think that would really resonate with someone you're coaching, right? If you're able to have that kind of interpersonal relationship. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your coaching style, right? You have this coaching business, you work with people for career coaching. What's your style like? How do you like to interact with other people?
Thank you for asking, Kim. So I have been told by others that I'm very empathetic. And so I, at the beginning of any relationship, really like to dig into that feeling of stuck And so I ask a lot of questions about, where have you been on your journey, and why do you feel that you're stuck, and how does that feel, and where in your body are you feeling these emotions, and when do you feel in alignment with what you're doing. And so I think part of my empathy and being intuitive is really trying to understand at the center of something how someone can make a change to either get those feelings to go away or to start to welcome in other feelings. So I would say empathy is the number one quality that I use in coaching, is that understanding and asking good questions, and also caring about the person as a big picture. If your grandfather was recently in the hospital, I want you to know that I care, and that if you ever have to miss a coaching sessions to go sit with grandpa and spend time with him, please do that. So I think even though I'm not a trained therapist or, mental health professional, I think especially after COVID, all of us have had intense feelings of how to mix our personal life and family life and career life. And it's hard to sit down on a meeting such as this and be like, okay, I'm going to sit up straight and talk about the topic at hand. Sometimes the doorbell's ringing, or a fish just died, or something that you just bring your whole self to the table, and we're going to get to the bottom of things. And also, when you leave a coaching session with me, I want you to feel that not only did I understand, but I'm helping you to accomplish your future goals, and you feel more motivated to take those positive steps for yourself.
Yeah, I think that's so important, especially as a working parent or working from your home, right? Those unexpected things happen all the time, probably more so than working in an office setting where things are a little bit more controlled. Do you have any tips that you feel like has worked well for you, kind of living in that virtual environment?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think time blocking is really important. So for people that have a schedule that's very flexible, really separating your home time for your work time. So I used to be one of those people that would work to 8 to 5, and when on my work from home days, I was like, this is awesome. I can unload the dishwasher, do some laundry, sweep the floor, and I tried to fit 2 whole days into one day. And so I think being gentle on yourself to say, these are my work hours. I'm going to be working only, or, on my lunch break, if I want to take a walk or go to a yoga class or catch up on Love is Blind on Netflix, that is my fun time. I don't need to be a machine in my household and be the cleaner and the laundry person and the working person. It's just, I'm here to get stuff done, and even though this is my house, it can look like it looks, and I'll get to it later.
Yes, 100% yes. I've learned that you just figure out things that are seen in your background and things that are not.
There you go. That's a very small surface area. We can do that. It
Yeah.
just takes the arm to push things out of the way.
Yep, hop on a little bit early, make sure everything's out of
There
place.
you go. There you go.
I would be remiss if I did not mention you dropped a guilty pleasure in there of Love is Blind.
Oh, yeah. I think a new season's coming up, Kim. So,
Yes,
yeah.
I also am a fan, and you know, very. I'm just gonna throw it out to the world. I also follow all the people on Instagram, and I
Yes.
feel like I know all of the things about all the aspects of their life.
And
It's ridiculous, really.
what's funny, and I think maybe this is the reason you love the show too, but I feel like the people that go into it with the right intentions, not the fame or the whatever, like they're there now, they're like, I want to fall in love and I want to get to know you, and I really like they're the ones that make it in the end. And so something about it, like you can almost predict or you can almost tell. And when you think about it, it takes two to tango, right? They both of those people have to have the right intentions, and if one person is in it, for something else, it's gonna tank, and then it makes for really good TV. But you're
Right.
such a people person too, that you want to see people succeed and you want to see people fall in love. But then if somebody's acting up or being a jerk, it's like, well, you did it, so let's see the aftermath here. Unfortunately, it makes for good
Right.
TV.
I know. So part of me's in it for the good TV, but I think you and I are aligned in that you're always kind of trying to see the psychology or like the sociology behind it, this
Totally.
big social experience of people being together. And I'm a big fan of Big Brother too, for the same reasons.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, you should check it out if you have not. It's just, strangers coming together and learning how to cohabitate without knowing each other, or even just learning about their deepest, darkest secrets in such a short amount of time. I
Right.
think it's so fascinating.
There should be a work version of it. I mean, maybe no one would watch it, but I also think like sometimes with your coworkers, if you're like, if I could just really, really know you, I think that would help, you know?
Yeah, totally. And think about it. Maybe we're onto something,
There
Elena,
you go.
where you work in a virtual environment, right? And you have to do onboarding with your camera off. So it's like work is blind.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, and there's like prizes for certain things
Right?
or I always think about the wife swap, if you could do like the
Yes.
work from home coworker swap and they, have to feed your kids breakfast and you have to take care of a dog and you're not a dog person or whatever that is. You just have more appreciation for other people.
Totally, totally. Forget this canvas conversation. We're on to something.
I know it. Olive Garden. Come on. Help a sister out.
Ellen John can join
There
us.
you go. There you go.
That's awesome. So you obviously are a very dynamic person. I have loved learning a little bit about you, both the personal side and the professional side. I'd love to hear a little bit about any like unique challenges or experiences that you've had in your life, or even just unique characteristics that have gotten you to this point, and kind of things that you've dealt with kind of along the journey.
Sure, absolutely. I would say one of my biggest or unique challenges that I've worked through is being a people pleaser. And so earlier in my life, I thought success looks like my parents are proud of me, or I'm on a
Mm,
stage doing something and someone's clapping. And so I think it's easy to kind of follow that vision of yourself that other people have because you program yourself to love, respect, or recognition, or whatever that looks like. And that has been a unique challenge. And I think I'm still working to overcome it, but part of that people pleasing nature is getting to know yourself. And
mhm.
sometimes you can put a cloud or a bubble around yourself to say, well, if other people want to spend time with me or want to hire me or want, to do something, then that must mean I'm going the right direction. But the unique challenge, I think, is unpeeling those layers. And for me, I went back to my childhood to be like, now, where did this originate? And how did I think, this was okay? And long story short, I went to a small Catholic school, and it was kind of like keep quiet until spoken to. And I wanted
Mm,
to get up in front of church and do a reading because you get a microphone and that's kind of cool and your voice echoes in the church. And my teacher looked at me and said, you're a little too shy and too meek to do a reading. And when I unraveled that as like somebody that I respected and was responsible for helping me grow, totally put my light out. And I think
yeah.
that happened multiple times throughout my life where it's like, well, you're too quiet or you're too nice or you're too shy or you're too whatever.
Hmm.
That talk track starts to happen. And for me, it's coming to terms with, okay, nobody meant to hurt me or meant to shut me down. But if I want to challenge myself and overcome these pre-programmed notions, then I have to find the right resources and practice and stretch myself to prove to myself that I'm not anything than who I am. So I would
Mm,
say in a long version of that, that is my unique challenges. People pleasing, preconceived notions and throwing
mhm.
it all in the garbage.
Yeah. Yeah. You said something about how some of the people in your life have put your light out, right? Or made you feel small.
Mhm.
And I know that you have two kids,
Yeah,
right? Two girls, I
two
believe.
girls, two little girls.
Two girls. What is something you feel like you can do as a parent, and maybe not you specifically, right? But just parents in general. What are some things that we can do to ensure that our kids don't have their light put out or make them feel small in a world that is so big?
I think being in tune enough with them that they'll vocalize concerns. So, at least for my own kids, the conversation always starts with, "How was your day?" "Fine." "What'd you do in math?" "Addition." "Okay." But if you can read on their face or tell by their body language that there's something deeper there, um, I say something like, "Well, I can tell you're not your usual cheery self. Is there anything you want to talk about, or is there anything bothering you that you'd like to share?" And then I listen, 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 which I think is a, tactic police use in murder investigations, but it also works in parenthood to just, I like lay in their bed or sit in their beanbag or like lay on the floor, and then they just talk my ear off. And usually it ends with some sort of, I felt left out in this certain game at school, or picture days tomorrow and I don't like what I have to pick out to wear. Do you think we could run to the store real quick? And they don't ever want to come out and ask for what they need, because I think they perceive us as parents as busy and not accessible. But it's when you give up and surrender and just let them go, they will talk themselves into whatever they need from you. And sometimes it does seem really small, but to them it's huge. And I think all of us remember from childhood when we spoke up and asked for something and were told no. It wasn't like, "Can I have that lollipop?" No, it was more something like, "I want to do this in my life," or "I want to experience something." No. And it's like, "Oh my gosh, but my life would be totally different if you just would have let me ride that horse," or whatever it was.
Right.
So, of course, sometimes there's monetary or time constraints, but just trying to get into tune with what my kids really need. And sometimes I'm not in tune, and I just tell myself to do better the next time.
Yeah, and I think it's making time, like you mentioned, and it's also giving yourself grace as a parent, right? I think we get so caught up in being so busy,
Yes.
or, I'm running to work and I'm running to drop off and I'm running to soccer and I got to make dinner and you need a bath and did you do your homework? There's so
Hmm.
much, especially if you have multiple kids, right, on different schedules. It can be so much. But just making those small moments of time where you lay in their bed at night and tell me about your day,
Yeah,
right? And you're
it's
really
precious.
just listening. I feel like my son, he's almost 8, and he will just go on and on and on about the most random things in the world, right? Whatever he's learning about in school or questions he has or just anything that he came across that day, right? But just being an outlet for them in that moment creates this safe space,
Hmm.
right? And I think it creates a safe space for us as well,
Definitely.
where we can be a little bit vulnerable in that moment too. I was feeling like this today, or let me tell you about my day,
Yeah.
right? Because they're curious too. It's important for them to hear about what's going on in our world as
We
well.
treat them like
Uh,
little people, right? Like, "Hey, I could really
yeah,
use your advice," or, returning the listening favor, right? Like, "Well, it was wonderful to hear about your day. Do you want to hear about
yeah,
mine?" And then they learn how to ask. So you're right, those moments
yeah,
are simply precious. And my mom gave me a statistic that the average mom has 23 minutes of uninterrupted time to herself every day. And when you think about how long the day is and everything that is going on, it's like, how do you want to use those 23 minutes? Some days it might be, "I'm going to lock myself in the bathroom." Other days it's like kid one gets 12 and a half minutes and the other kid gets 11. And, I
yeah,
don't know if that counts as interrupted time, but you're right. Between all the running time is precious, and our kids are craving that connection, and they love when
yeah,
they get it, and it feels good for us too.
yeah. Wow, that's a crazy statistic. 23 minutes. Wow. That's nuts.
Right.
I've started getting up early. My kids are very early risers. And I've started setting my alarm every day for like an ungodly time of day,
Really?
just so I can get a little extra time.
Good for
Because I feel like
you.
starting my day with something, like someone who needs me, is very challenging.
Yeah. You got to let your body wake up and know where you are and what's ahead. And so, how do you use that time? Is it walking or journaling or coffee?
Yeah, for me, it's coffee and reading a book.
I love
Just
it.
very quiet, quiet time. It's also 4:30 a.m.
Kim, wow. But you know what? If you benefit from it and you love it, it's not silly at all because you know what you just did? You took that 23 minutes and added more time that's just
Yeah.
yours. And so if that's what it's got to be, good for you. I'm glad you enjoy that time. It sounds so cozy, especially for winter time.
Yeah, well, solidarity to the other parents out there who have 5 a.m. risers.
Yeah, I know. They always tell me like they'll sleep in when they get older, and I'm like, okay, is that like noon or one?
Right?
When's that going to happen exactly?
Right? How much older?
Yeah, I'm waiting.
I know. Oh my gosh. If you don't mind me asking, how old are your girls?
They are 11 and 8.
Nice, nice. So yours are probably sleeping a little bit later than mine.
Yeah, they're more, I don't know, 7:38.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, the sun's usually up, which helps.
Yes. Yeah, totally. Totally. Awesome. So I have two more questions for you. One is kind of related to, just being a kid or being, I guess, a young professional or whatever point in your previous life. But if you were to give your former self a piece of advice, what would it be and why?
Oh, goodness. I had something ready that I wanted to talk about, but I feel like our conversation is pulling me into something else. Um, I would say advocate for your needs when and where you need them because as a kid or as a young woman, it's very easy to talk about how you feel or what's broken or what you're frustrated about. But I think people in a position to help, whether that's a mentor or a family member or a friend, can be so much more impactful if you tell them what you need. And so one thing that I've learned recently in relationships especially is to let somebody know like, hey, do you have 5 minutes? I just need to vent. And another way of doing that is like, do you have 5 minutes? I'm trying to make a decision and I have A and B and I think I'm going to do B, but I need someone to like validate or poke holes in my plan. And then I think people know where you're coming from and they'll meet you where you are. But I feel like my younger self was like, school's overwhelming or I can't find the right guy, where is he? And it's helpful to just say, this is how you can help me, or this is what would help me feel like I'm moving closer towards that goal. And even if you don't know what that is, maybe you can talk to somebody and say, hey Kim, I'm having a day here, and my
Yeah.
challenge is that I'm so scattered, I don't know what to prioritize. Can I like pick your brain for 2 minutes? And hopefully it would help you feel good knowing that like, hey, Elena reached out and trusts me to help her through this. And you know what? The next time that comes to me, like there's such thing as karma and paying back in relationships. I'm going to call Elena because, I know I helped her and I know she'll be there for me. And I think that's, just a great way to reciprocate in relationships, to be thoughtful about how you ask for help and then let people know, hey, I owe you a solid. I'm here for you. Call me anytime. I'm happy to be that person for you as well.
Totally. Yeah, I love that. I love the reciprocation as well, right? It builds trust and
Mm-hmm.
it helps increase your relationship. And I had listened to this book one time that talked very similarly about this, and it mentioned how people aren't mind readers, right? So
I know.
oftentimes we find ourselves in challenging situations because we expect that the other person knows what we're thinking or what we're going through, but oftentimes they don't, right? They don't know
Hmm.
what our needs are or what we're trying to get at or whatever it might be. So I think you said something really important there was articulating it, what it is that you need and advocating for that and really asking and being clear on what you're trying to get out of what you're asking.
Hmm.
Because not every time, you don't always want advice,
No kidding.
right?
That can be a
Sometimes that makes it worse,
yeah, exactly.
right? And our instinct as people is to want to fix
I
it, right? When somebody
know.
comes and vents, well, let me give you 10 solutions. You're like, I don't want any of those solutions. I just wanted to
Yeah,
vent.
I'm not there yet.
Right,
I'm still in the
exactly.
stages of grieving where I'm upset or I'm annoyed or, I'm ready to dig a hole and get in it.
Totally, totally. Absolutely. I love that. I think that's great advice and it's applicable everywhere in people's lives.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Kim.
Yeah, of course. So, my last question for you is if you were given a blank canvas, you could put anything you wanted on it, what would be on your life canvas?
Wonderful. So I would use definitely an inspirational quote somewhere on there. I'm really big into Rumi, and if I had a good memory, I'd, spout something out right now, but I can't. That's what Google's for. So definitely like a nice quote front and center, and then really bright pictures of sunsets and sunrises, maybe places I've traveled, people's faces who light me up, maybe some warm and happy memories throughout my life, and then probably some mixed media in there. I love like decoupage and like mid-century modern art, so there would probably be like things sticking out of the canvas, and if you were at a bar or a restaurant or something, be like, wow, that was kind of a weird piece of art, but it inspired something in me. And I think that's what all of our lives are about, right? Like how to fit so many beautiful moments in our life. And
Yeah.
so I would try to do that to my canvas and definitely make it unique and speak to me in a way that's like, yep, I lived a good life. That was fun. And hopefully a gift that'll keep on giving for other people to learn from my canvas, and my kids to be great women when they grow up.
Yeah, I love that. Um, that I love that you mentioned it having, multiple dimensions and being something that's a talking piece, right? If you were to
Sure.
see it, kind of to leave your legacy behind, right? People are talking about you and the inspiration that you left, and I think that that's something people probably really value about you as a career coach.
Oh, thank you, Kim. I appreciate that. It's such thought-provoking questions, and you have just a wonderful way of bridging topics together and also just making me feel really comfortable and free to share. And, you can think about how you're going to answer questions in a certain way, but when you sit with such a warm and friendly and kind and smart person like yourself, it just feels so natural to keep it real and to talk about. We often don't get a chance to talk about some of these things, and it felt good to share and learn more about you along the way, too.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. That's very sweet of you. It's been a wonderful conversation. I really
Yes, I
loved
would
getting to know
agree.
you. And um, Elena, if people want to find you, how do they find you on the internet?
Yes, wonderful. You can go to changeravenllc.com. And if you find the Baltimore Ravens, you've gone to the wrong place. So, yes, changeravenllc.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Elena. I hope other people find you because you are wonderful to connect with, whether that be as a career coach or just in general. You're such a pleasure to talk to. And I hope that people reach out. So thanks so much for engaging with us.
Thank you, Kim. It was so much fun. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Thanks.